If you have said to yourself, I should write that, or if someone has said to you, you should write that, then I'm talking to you because you need to write. And that's why you're tuned in to Why Write. Hi, welcome to Why Write. I'm your host, Angela Grout. Thank you for tuning in for another episode to find out why you should be writing your story, as I have conversations with writers about why they've written their stories to inspire you. Today, I have a very special guest who was born in Italy, and she has been communicating with angels and guides her whole life. She is zooming in for this special recorded episode of Why Write from Granby, Connecticut. This is Clementina Teresa Angeli, and she goes by Tina. Tina is the author of We Are Angels. It's a book about positive transformations through defining moments. Tina is also a spiritual medium and an energy healer. She offers training and resources for spiritual guide awareness, meditation and relaxation techniques, and past life transgressions, just to name a few. She is the director of the Soul Center in Granby, Connecticut, and we'll find more out about that because we're going to find out about the Labyrinth that she hand created there, that many people travel from all around to walk and meditate in. She lives to tell stories about near-death experiences, and let me tell you, this woman is an angel on earth. And I want to introduce Tina Angeli. Welcome to the show, Tina.
Oh, thank you, Angela, for asking me to be on your show. I feel very, very glad that you did. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's just wonderful. And, I always find universal connections with so many people. And, as you and I know, our story has a little bit of that divine connection. I was, on vacation in Old Lyme and working on my book, April Rain. And my daughter shared with a little girl that she had also written a book. And the little girl's father happens to be a children's book illustrator, who also happens to not only be the illustrator for the cover of your book,
yes,
We Are Angels, but a neighbor of yours.
Yes, a very good neighbor right next door. Yes.
Yes. So, meeting Matt Ryan allowed me to find out about the avenue of getting an illustrator for a children's book, finding out about storyboarding for movies, and seeing samples of his work, which happened to be your cover. Do you have your book that you could hold it up to show us your cover?
Yes. Hold on. It's right here.
There it is.
It's
We
my
Are
baby.
Angels. And look at that. If you can see, it's like a cloud, and there's this beautiful angelic woman, I'm going to say woman, in the vision of the cloud. And, I don't want to be telling your story, but I'm so excited for the audience to hear the story about the book, We Are Angels. Can you tell us a little bit of why you wrote the book? What happened?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Matt Ryan did a wonderful job with this cover page, and his idea was also to put the other wings in the back of the book. So the angel is embracing the book. So that I love that idea. And it's full of energy. I started to have the idea of writing a book. I wasn't sure what was going to be in it because I hadn't had my second near-death experience at that time. But I started by wanting to have something in writing, a little booklet for my 4 granddaughters. My 2 daughters had 2 daughters each, very close in age. And so my idea was to be able to do something in writing to give it to them as a gift. And so I started putting little stories in there, and then it kind of developed by itself. And I kept having suggestions or downloads, I would say, from spirit of what needed to be done. Actually, I even specifically got downloads and visions on how the book needed to look like, even how many chapters and what needed to be on top of each chapter before the title and the number of chapters, either a graphic or a picture of it. And that's how I formatted it.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. I mean, as you know, I've written 3 books. An Angel's Journey definitely was like that download where it's like, okay, inspiration just kind of comes. You sit down and the words start to flow. But I did, in the shower, come up with the title, and also, with dreaming and trying to visualize, getting the vision of what the book would look like in my hand, what the cover would look like, what the quotes before each chapter, were supposed to be like, and this, it literally just comes in like this very inspirational, grabs you moment that says, listen and follow.
I learned through the process, it took me 10 years to write, but through the process, I learned that the book has a life of its own, even before it's finished in the spirit world, but it needs our hands to type the words. So I know that. And you mentioned something about how things came to you in the showers. I can tell you that I've learned quite a few years ago that water is a conductor of energy. And so that is why in my case, I get visitors in the shower, people that have passed over and they want to give me messages, or for me to give messages to others. Mm-hmm. That's how they visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. No, I totally understand that. I will say, I don't think they visited me in the shower, but I certainly know that I get visitors in the middle of the night and in my dreams for sure, where I have to wake up and literally, say, okay, I have to write this down. I have to, kind of document for my own, my own well-being and journalize it, but also knowing that there's a bigger purpose for it.
Yes, and it's great that you trusted your intuition. Anytime that we doubt what comes to us as a first instinct, that's when we get in trouble.
Yeah, I've always said that, when I am inspired, regardless of whether it's to write a book or to, take on a new venture, I, center myself and will ask, like, is this going to help me in a way? Will this help others? And if the answer is it could hurt me or hurt others, then I have to shut it down, because that is not where I want to go. I'm looking, to help and to heal and to educate people, maybe even entertain them along the way.
Hey, why not? It's wonderful.
Now, your book, We Are Angels, is inspired from a, true life event that you had, not just with angels, but in your own life and in your death experience.
Yes, it's basically my life, the story of my life, including the vision that I had over the garage of my angel, which is made into the cover page. But at first, it didn't have a title because I didn't know how it was going to develop. And I happened to be making cupcakes with my oldest granddaughter, who's now 20. And at that time, she was 4 years old. And I said to her, I said, Olivia, did I tell you that I'm writing a book? She says, no, Mimi, you didn't. That is wonderful. Do you have a title? And I said, no, not yet. Why don't you ask them? And I said that because she and I had been discussing angels and all that at that age. And so she went with her little chin on her right shoulder and she whispered, she says, and so then she very seriously, she says, we are angels. I said, is that the title of the book? And she says, Mimi, this is what they told me. And so I left it at that, not knowing what to make of it. And then I started to do some research on that title. And I saw tons of information about angels, but nothing such as that, angels on earth and all that. But this was We Are Angels. And I did not find any title equal to that. And so that's why it was interesting, was I felt like the title was waiting for me, for my title, for my book.
And that's important for an author writing a book, is to find out, are there other books out there with your title,
Yes,
and how are they related to your book, or how strongly do you feel about your title that you're going to keep it even if there's another one?
That's right. And as a matter of fact, interestingly enough, when I asked Matt Ryan to also help me with my website, we were able to claim We Are Angels .net as the website.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you have had this spiritual connection with your angels and guides and past loved ones throughout your whole life.
Oh, yes, yes.
But coming home, and I'll share a little of the story that you shared with me. You came home one evening and we're thinking about, the near-death experience you had in a car accident, but you were parking in your driveway, and above the garage, you saw this angel above the garage, kind of in the clouds, that looks like your cover.
Yes, that vision, that was very pivotal in my finally accepting what comes through me, was about 27 years ago, which was way before I had my second near-death experience. Because my second near-death experience was a car crash in 2012. And the vision of my angel, which was interesting because she finally gave me what her name was. And it was the same one that used to come and visit me as a child in Italy, right after my sister had died. So from the age of 2 until I was about 7 or 8 years old, every night she would come. Sometimes she'd play peekaboo with me. And I remember so vividly the soles of her feet as she floated up above my bed when I was in bed. And it was such an incredible gift to me because it was a hard time at the time, because my sister died when I was 2. My 1-year-old sister died, and it was very difficult for my parents to handle that. So it turned out the very incredible drama, and I have all the details in the book that I actually felt like because my father, what he would say after he got drunk, it felt like he was accusing me of my sister's death, which was, and this, I feel that's the reason why she showed up. And she didn't have wings then, so I would call her my beautiful lady, and I always looked forward to that. She had a veil-like outfit, and she would float around the room and stayed with me until I was asleep. Then I learned just a few years ago why this happens. But at the age of 7 and 8 years old, between that age, the ego sets into the body. So that's when we start questioning things.
Yeah.
And
reality versus non-reality.
Yeah. And so I started saying, I didn't want to be different. I did not wish to be different. And so I said, okay, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So respectfully, the visions stopped until 27 years ago over my garage here in Granby, when she came back again. And at this time she had huge wings. And it was it was an incredible experience. I wish I had been able to take pictures, but I was really, really but it was very important for me to have that experience, because up until then I would get information, downloads, and I was very reluctant to share them freely, because it's like, well, where did this come from? Or why am I hearing this? Is it coming from me?
Yeah.
So she made it very clear to me that I chose to do this work on the earth when I came on the earth. And it was important for me to just trust and allow them to do the work, because the information wasn't coming from me, it came through me.
Yeah, we are vessels. We definitely are vessels. And I often would like to think that our children or our careers or our books choose us to write it. But I think I do agree with you that before we do come to earth, we do have some sort of, I don't know if you call it a soul contract. Yeah. But just saying, yes, this is what I'll do. And, my name Angela means, messenger. So it's like, okay, yes, I am a messenger, whether that is a message to bring flowers to others, to bring healing messages, to bring empathy, or to write stories, I want to fulfill that.
Yes, it's important to always follow our passions. And I heard ones which resonated with me: follow your passion and the money will follow. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's I never am concerned about finances because I just trust that everything just falls together as we continue to do what you know, I call it God's work truly,
Yes.
because I'm very much serious about this type of work. And the human part of me sometimes feels like I need feedback from the clients, which I do. And it's like, really, that I said that to you?
No, it's very true. I have my master's in Reiki, and I know when you're doing Reiki on someone, you're not supposed to look for that feedback, that own confirmation. But at the same time, it does, admit that I'm human and we're all human and we do seek for the confirmation. And faith is like, Wi-Fi. It's like you can't see it, but it's there. It's in the air, and it's something that you can learn through whatever avenues there are. But, knowing that you're a spiritual person having this, human existence, is a very viable part of my own life. And I know it's definitely a viable part of your life with all of the wonderful modalities that you offer as an energy healer and a spiritual medium, and being the director of Soul in Granby. Can you tell us a little bit about what Soul is, SOUL?
This happened right after I want to say graduated, but I retired from the state of Connecticut. I worked for the state of Connecticut for 26 years. And when I became eligible, I took it right away because I knew that I was going to do something spiritual. And I opened my house as a monthly meditation channel meditation group, which lasted 17 years.
Wow.
Until the last one was March of just before COVID.
The pandemic.
And so, but there's a reason for that as well. But anyway, so 17 years it's been going on. Even though I don't meet every month, I still do events at different places, like I'm going to be doing at the library in Enfield in September, and I do groups, and family want to gather a few of their relatives and at a home, I do that. And I do, of course, one-on-ones, either in person or on Zoom or Google Meet. As a matter of fact, I did one just a few months ago in Europe.
Wow. And that's and not only do you do spiritual readings, and you're able to bring guidance to others on how to hear their angels, but you've also have done some bereavement counseling, which I have had a lot of experience in, through the flower shop, is meeting loved ones who have passed, who have lost someone, and then having the loved one who has passed over, have their energy present. And I think that that's such a beautiful offering that you are able to offer, not only in private sessions, but also at your retreat center. I did have the pleasure to visit the Soul Center many years ago, and you have a beautiful, beautiful water feature. Very relaxing. We were able to sit by the waterfall and just have a nice conversation, about our books. And you built this beautiful labyrinth. Tell my audience what inspired you to do this and how it's come to be so popular.
Well, I knew that 1/4 acre of land on the side of my driveway was meant to be used as a labyrinth. And so I didn't even know what a labyrinth really was at the time. So I kept a file. I gathered all kind of information, and I also knew that it was going to cost money. So I started to save for that. And finally, 18 years ago, I was able to hire people to build it for me. We worked together. And it's an 11 circle labyrinth. It is actually the largest private labyrinth in Connecticut. I was on Channel 3 Better Connecticut a few years ago. Kara Sunland came and interviewed me right in the labyrinth. And people find it because it's in the National Labyrinth Society website. So if you go on the upper right side of that website, you put in Granby, you'll find me that way. And that's how people find me, because I wanted it to be utilized by all that are drawn to it.
Yes, and it's open to the public.
Yes, it's open to the
Free.
public. Yes, I do accept donations for the upkeep of it, but yes, it is free. Now, for groups, I would like to know in advance so we can set up a meeting, a time. That way there aren't too many groups coming at the same time.
Yeah, and for people who may be not familiar with a labyrinth, I'll just elaborate a little bit. But it's a circular maze in a sense where you walk it, and the religious may say a rosary, may say certain prayers. Other people may pick up a stone and contemplate a thought that they're having, and really walk it to get clarity in their mind.
Yes, it's a prayer meditation tool. It's
Yeah.
not a maze, because a maze you cannot get out of it. This is made with 14 tons of rocks. The circles are made with rocks. Interestingly enough, people sometimes they're drawn to bring in rocks or other items, which I don't know. That must mean something to them, and that's fine. And interestingly enough, some friends of ours, husband and wife, they came, they wanted to walk the labyrinth, so they came together. The wife just did it very focused, walk the labyrinth, and then she came and sat with us by the waterfall. The husband was who had also had a near-death experience, and now picks up on energy and people's messages. He was just standing there in one side and wasn't doing anything. So finally, when he finished, he came and sat with us, and I knew that something was going on. He was probably communicating with someone. And he sat down and says, well, I met up with an American Indian elder who told me that he was very pleased the way the land was being utilized now. So that was a nice feeling for me to know that another confirmation. Not that I really need it, but it was nice to receive
No,
it.
and you definitely utilize your land and your space very well. It's very inviting. Creating this soul retreat center for people to, stop in or set up an appointment with you is wonderful. And, your book, We Are Angels, really does have that message of transforming our lives through defining moments. And you share what your defining moments are, but I think readers also will take away a deep thought process of what their defining moments are.
That's right. We all have our own, contracts before we come on the earth.
And, we all have our own angels. And I think that people who,
sure.
Read your book will start to understand their angels more, or, if they are hesitant to believe in angels, I think the hesitation may,
Yeah, but this is why I was really drawn to having one of the chapters, which gives some instructions on how to do that. It was important for me to do that. So I did put instructions on how to start, how to begin by writing and, journal writing and all that. And I wanted to share also that September 29th, which is a Friday evening, I will be celebrating 20-year anniversary of my soul center. Oh. And it's going to be done by the waterfall with by fire. We have a fire pit. And Joyce Saint Germain, she's a shaman, a wonderful lady. She accepted my invitation to do a ceremony there. So anybody that feels drawn to it, contact
Friday,
me.
September 29th.
Yes.
That's amazing. And 20 years of not only having this beautiful soul center and having this labyrinth, but of sharing your message about, the angels that you have listened to and guided you, and allowing others to welcome their angels into your life.
I'm very, very grateful to have been able to finally be open to all that is out there for me to be able to help others.
Yeah, no, your story is beautiful, not just the story that's written between the bindings of your book, but the story of your life, which incorporates even more than just that. And the fact that you were able to so articulately explain the vision of the angel above your garage to an illustrator such as Matt Ryan, who is an illustrator for, I believe, DC Comics. So, I mean, you know, he's won children's awards for being a children's book illustrator, and he's my illustrator too. So, you know,
I love Matt.
Yeah, it's very
so
exciting. And
yes.
I mean, and you were very pleased with how he drew it. Like, it was very authentic.
It was very well done. It took a long time, some frustrations and all that, but it was done, and I was so impressed with the work. And my husband Michael, who's an engineer, he also was very impressed.
Well, hold your book up again. Let them see the title. Let them see this beautiful angel on the book. And you know, where can they buy your book? Can they get more information about you, the Soul Center, and, you know, find out where you're going to be speaking and having events?
Okay, so the book is the paper book is only available through my website, whywrite.net. And because I did self-publishing, and so it has to be purchased through me. But then after all the interviews I've had, I was beginning to get requests from out of the country, and shipping all outside of US, it's very expensive. So Michael and I decided, we did some research, and we also have it published as an ebook on draft number 2digital.com, which is also,
I will put those links below so that people can, you know, buy the ebook version from you directly, or go to your website, weareangels.net, to, you know, not only purchase this book, which I highly recommend as a great read, but also to find out about, you know, your 20-year anniversary event, about your speaking engagements that you have going on, and, you know, just all that you offer at your Soul Retreat Center.
Very good. Thank you very much. And I am so pleased that you were drawn to coming to see me. That one gorgeous rose that you brought me, it comes to my mind often, and I smile in gratitude.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, we are angels. My name is Angela, which I, you know, would joke with people that, yes, I'm Angel A. I know Angel B through Z, but I am the first.
And you are, for sure.
So anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on the show so that my audience can get to know you. And hopefully, you know, if they have an angelic story, that they're going to be inspired to share their story also, maybe for their grandchildren, maybe for others. So I think it's, you know, really important for me to have wonderful writers and, you know, and real people who have written their stories, who have actually sat down, put pen to paper, and, you know, made this a physical, tangible copy so that people can share that experience so that it can resonate with them.
Thank you. I just want to say something that comes to mind all the time to me, to tell people, and also to tell myself, is always to trust the process. No fear.
Yeah. Well, with that, I feel like we should end in a closing prayer.
All right.
All trust the process of our stories, the stories we've lived, the stories we're dreaming to have, and the story that we're living in this present moment, watching this show.
Yes.
yWrite.
Yes. Very good.
Oh, Tina, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I want to thank Studio 954 for making this program available to you, the audience, because I am especially thankful to all of you for tuning in week after week to not only listen to the wonderful guests that I have on my show, but to even watch me learn from them too, because it's a learning process for all of us. And, you know, our journey of life is about learning, living, and sharing. So, you know, let's do that. And if you have a story calling out to you to write and to share, I think this is your time. So, Tina, this is the part of the program where I give my audience a prompt to write, you know, because a lot of people are tuning in, and whether they're a professional writer or an amateur or just someone who says, you know, I really wish I wrote that story, this is time to begin. So, you know, pick up your pen, and when the show ends, put the timer on your microwave for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however much time you have. You know, it can be 5 minutes, but, you know, take the time to sit in the presence of just you and your thoughts, and let your angels also guide you, and use your pen to just start writing. And if you have some sort of memory, some moment in your life where you have felt angelic guidance, now is the time to write it. All right. So thank you for joining yWrite. I'm your host, Angela Grout. I will see you next time.